Donald Trump's administration is in a state of complete collapse, and civil war is breaking out once again. And this time, it's not Elon Musk, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or even the MAGA voters. It is within Donald Trump's own cabinet that physical fights are breaking out. Threats of brawling on the White House grounds are being screamed across the dinner table, and we are going to get into it all because this story was insane. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into this insane story of the Trump civil war, we have to start for the reason why tensions are bubbling over, and that is because of Donald Trump's failing economy. And it starts with what Trump had to say about beef prices yesterday.
Mr. President, the price of beef continues to rise and other items keep going up. Is there any way to address the cost of beef?
Yeah, once it kicks in, once our policies kick in, the price of beef will be going down, just like the price of eggs went down and the price of a lot of other grocery items went down. Beef will go down. It'll all go down. Energy has gone way down. The price of gasoline has gone really, I think you'll be hitting $2 very soon. And it was $4.50 a little while ago. So energy's gone way down. That brings everything else with it. But beef has gone, as you know, for other reasons. The price of beef has gone up a little bit. It'll be coming down.
So I guess we're going back to the old, it's Joe Biden's economy still. What policies has Donald Trump put in place or not put in place? What policies is he just kind of waiting to plug in there and then everything will be resolved? Because that's what he's telling us. Is there another version of tariffs that are even worse? Is there another tax giveaway to the wealthy and well-off and giant corporations that you really think is going to fix all of these problems? It's not happening. We saw the other day videos of farmers literally praying to God for tariffs to go away because it has impacted their industry so much. Donald Trump is screwing over the very people who made him president, and he really doesn't seem to care, or more importantly, to understand their impact. And his administration is trying to lie their way out of it. And it's the reason we saw this brawl break out with Scott Bessent. Yes, he was the one at the center of this physical fight. And maybe it's because of how tough work has been for him lately. So before we get into this shocking story, I want to see what Bessent was trying to say yesterday about Donald Trump's economic policy.
Though, because I want to talk about what U.S. companies are saying right now, Mr. Secretary. The New York Times wrote this about John Deere, the impact that tariffs are having on that company. Quote, last month, John Deere said net income in its most recent quarter was down 29% from a year earlier. Higher tariffs have cost the company $300 million so far, with nearly another $300 million expected by the end of the year. This summer, the company laid off 238 employees across factories in Illinois and Iowa. What do you say to companies like John Deere who say these tariffs are hurting them?
Well, first of all, Kristen, if you're quoting the New York Times, that's not a fair observer. And two, that...
But these are statistics.
That's
this is about John Deere, not about the New York Times.
That's one company that they have cherry-picked. At Treasury, we have about 2 management teams come through a day, and overwhelmingly, we are hearing from companies they plan to increase CapEx, they plan to increase employment. We are seeing a record amount, what's going to be a record amount of foreign direct investment. And for every John Deere, we have companies who are telling us the tariffs have helped our business, we're increasing CapEx, and we're going to increase employment.
But Mr. Secretary, it's not just John Deere. We've heard from a lot of different companies around the country. Nike says that tariffs will cost the company around $1 billion this year. Black & Decker says $800 million. The big 3 automakers all say they've had to pay more than $2 billion in tariffs. The list goes on and on. Bottom line, do you acknowledge that these tariffs amount to a tax on the American people?
You just can't lie your way out of this one. As much as they are certainly going to try, there is no level of, well, dear leader Trump always figures it out, and look at the tariff revenue that's actually just taxes on the working class. It's not going to happen, which is why Scott Bessent probably has a couple of people talking behind his back. And that is why a MAGA brawl broke out at the White House, as we can see in this breaking story from Politico. I'm going to punch you in the effing face. Scott Bessent threatens an administration rival. The Treasury Secretary's quiet tensions with Housing Finance Chief Bill Pulte exploded at a private dinner last week. A private dinner attended by dozens of administration officials and close advisors to Donald Trump was temporarily marred by a dramatic clash between two of Trump's top economic officials, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent at one point threatening to punch top housing finance official Bill Pulte in the effing face. The Wednesday evening event was supposed to be of celebration. It was both the much-anticipated inaugural dinner at the executive branch, the ultra-exclusive Georgetown Club created by and for Trump world's uber rich, and a birthday party for MAGA-friendly podcaster Shamith. A long table for 30-some guests was set with top-of-the-line crystal and china, with a guest list including Sean Duffy, Howard Lutnick, Doug Burgum, and others. But amid the cocktail hour din, Bessent lashed out at Pulte in an expletive-laden diatribe. The Treasury Secretary had heard from several people that the Federal Housing Finance Agency director had been bad-mouthing him to Trump. A person close to him said he wasn't about to engage in chit-chat as if nothing was amiss. Why the F are you talking to the president about me? F you, Bessent told Pulte. I'm going to punch you in your effing face. The scene was described to me by one eyewitness and 4 other people familiar with what happened. The only fact they disagreed on was whether it was Bessent or Pulte who initiated the conversation. Pulte appeared stunned, and the tense encounter prompted club co-owner and financier Omid Malik to intervene, according to 3 people. But Bessent wasn't having it. He sought to get him kicked out, the eyewitness said. It's either me or him, Bessent said to Malik. You tell me who's getting the F out of here. Or, he added, we could go outside. To do what? Asked Pulte. To talk? No, Bessent replied. I'm going to effing beat your ass. Seeking to de-escalate the situation, Malik separated the men, walking Bessent to another part of the club to calm him down. During the seated dinner, Bessent and Pulte were placed on opposite ends of the table, and the party went off without further episode. Okay, so there's a lot of feelings in MAGA world. It seems like these men are a little too emotional to govern, and maybe they should find a different hobby or join a fantasy football league. Maybe some recreational basketball after. I think Scott Bessent's a tall guy. But wow, things are not going well within the Trump administration. Scott Bessent's also the same guy who got in that shoulder checking match with Elon Musk. So maybe Scott needs some therapy. Like, what is going on that we have to resort to physical violence? I guess that is the Trump administration that right now is committing war crimes, so it makes sense. But all of these guys are just so damn insecure. That's really what it boils down to. Our country is being ripped apart because Scott Bessent is insecure. The guy's almost a billionaire. He's the Secretary of the Treasury, and still he gets his little feelings hurt all the time. And none of these guys are actually upset about the crisis of affordability that they're causing. They're not mad that they're being badmouthed to the president for their bad policies. It's just because they don't like each other. They are not focused on you. But 2 people who are, and did not get into a physical fight on stage, were Zohran Mamdani and Bernie Sanders, who recently held a rally in which they were talking about affordability and fighting back against these idiotic billionaires. And I want to check that out right here.
Where we have to say that New York City is not for sale. New York City is not for sale to Donald Trump's billionaire donors. It is not for sale to corporations like DoorDash. It is not for sale to corrupt politicians like Andrew Cuomo. And Bernie has continued to lead in this movement, going from Burlington is not for sale to fighting back against oligarchy coast to coast in this country. And that fight, not just against oligarchy, but for democracy, is a fight that has energized tens of thousands of Americans across this country. It has shown once again that politics is something that can be powered by ordinary people. with not just a rejection of authoritarianism, but a belief in what is possible as well. And we know that that oligarchy has an impact right here in New York City. We know it does because when Donald Trump ushered through his so-called big beautiful bill, he did so ushering through the greatest wealth transfer in American politics. His legislation will throw millions of New Yorkers off of their health care. For a man who campaigned on cheaper grocery prices, it will cut SNAP benefits for the hungriest among us. And all of this to give more money to those who already have more than they know what to do with. That is the fight that we are seeing taking place here. The interconnectedness of an attack on working people, all to enrich those same billionaire donors that gave us Donald Trump's second term. That is the fight that unites us across this country in this moment. A fight where we make clear that this is a city where we will choose our own mayor. It's not going to be Donald Trump. It's not going to be Bill Ackman. It's not going to be DoorDash. We will choose our mayor. And we know that this fight is not an easy one. It was not an easy fight for Bernie when he led Burlington. It was a fight that took every single thing, every single day. But are you committed to continue this fight? I need to know, are you committed to continue this fight? Because I want to be clear, we are not just here together with the message to come out and vote in November, though that is critically important.
Those are two leaders not getting in a brawl at a MAGA dinner that I think we can all get behind. And we are going to continue to talk about their message of affordability, how Democrats can actually make it clear that the billionaire class is not worried about you, but just wants the largest tax cut possible. And MAGA is always willing to shill it out for them. We have to hammer that home. We're going to on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.